Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Howdy, y'all. This is Red O'Loughlin. Welcome back to the Talking Heads program on the USA TV and Radio Network in conjunction with and participation with E360 TV. So it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The show is worldwide. It's on all day long, depending where you're at. On YouTube, you can catch the USA Global TV and Radio Network archives, and my shows are available there. We started out about 3 weeks ago. Let me go ahead and pull up my slides here real quickly, get those going. Okay. We started about 3 weeks ago on what are the hot topics and trends as we're ending 2023 and getting ready to go into 2024. And so today is number 3, and which will probably be 6, maybe as many as 8, depends on how long it takes to get through it. But first off, as a disclaimer, I'm a researcher, not a doctor, never been in a pharmaceutical industry. I fell in love with chemistry in high school, sophomore year in high school. And it wasn't until decades later in taking care of my wife when she was going through chemo that I ended up back in the chemistry world. And it was my first love. I'll be first to add, before I ever met my wife, which is now 55 years, and 59 years that I've known her, chemistry was always my first love. And as such, that's the one that I really and truly find passion in. So I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms, just putting a Band-Aid on something that never heals. So when I look at our health, our wellness, it's our responsibility. Yeah, you may have accountability people through your doctor, through your pharmacist, through your nutritionist, through other family members. But really and truly, the responsibility for our health and our wellness is ours. And as always, this presentation is primarily focused on education, awareness for our viewer. What is wellness? Wellness is slightly different than health. When you think of health and wellness, okay, what are the two? Well, let's just look at wellness. It's the daily choices that we make. What are those habits that we've instilled in ourselves? And what do we do in that regard? Most of the time, we don't change anything. But in the wellness end of things, the world around us in wellness does change slowly, incrementally, but it does change. What we were doing prior to the pandemic, we're no longer necessarily doing the exact same things. But it's our choices, it's our intentions, it's the actions we take. And with both the E360 TV and the USA Global TV and Radio Network, I'm hoping that the knowledge you gain will allow you to talk to your doctor and say, hey, doc, what about this? What about this? And it gives you a broader option of being able to know what's going on and how to do things. In the past, we've been at about 30,000 feet saying, yeah, sleep importance is there, sleep deprivation, and what umpty. But in reality, let's go ahead and dive down to about the 200-foot level and start looking at these. What happens when you sleep? Well, that's when your body repairs itself. If you're getting good quality sleep every night, the body does the things it needs to do in order to get prepared for the next day. We know that sleep deprivation, where you're not getting, you may be in bed for 8 hours or 10 hours, but you're tossing and turning. It's really and truly a sleep deprivation, whether it's laying down with a cover over you or whether you never actually get in bed. Do that long enough, and we have some positive linkages to obesity, diabetes, depression, and more. Uh, but when we do get that quality sleep, our body does the repairs that it needs to do. And we have seen very definite studies that show improved brain performance, our mood improves, in general, better health compared to our peers. And actually, believe it or not, actually better ability to maintain weight. So that's pretty important with regard to the sleep aspect of it. Now, what we're seeing as a trend is a thing called power naps. We've had power naps for decades, but now they're actually buying equipment and you have a power nap at work. Now, this power nap may be 10 minutes, 15, maybe as much as 30, but they have these little pods that they're expensive. They're like 10, 12, $15,000 each, but they go, or you lay in this chair and the thing goes over you and you're kind of in a dark environment. And it allows you to take that 10 minutes and power nap, as the case may be. What happens? People have found that just 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes is enough to improve alertness, reduces fatigue. For those people who are measuring performance, it actually improves the performance levels. And one of the most important things in any business is safety. That little power nap is really and truly worthwhile. Now, if you start doing more than 30 minutes, yeah, it's going to have a problem. 8, 10, 12 minutes, not a problem. The main issue that is there is the fact that you're actually allowing the body to relax. You're eliminating distractions. So I go in and I'll be a firm believer. I take naps all the time. Most of the time, I'll set my alarm for 11 minutes and I'll be up at around 7.5, 8 minutes. I've had enough. I can feel my body. Okay, whatever I've been in here for, just to relax. Now, sometimes I actually do go to sleep. That happens not with regularity, but within about 7, 8 minutes, I have been known to actually fall asleep. But most of the time, I am just relaxing. And that relaxation is what allows me to get up from a prone position and be more productive, safer, etc. There's a thing called the Navy SEAL power nap. It's got, I can't tell you how many thousands of hits on YouTube. Maybe it's TikTok. I can't remember which. But he claims that 8 minutes should be the maximum. And I tend to agree. I find that 8 minutes, if I'm setting an alarm, most of the time I set it for around 11. I don't get to 11. But if somewhere around that 7, 8 minute, all of a sudden, ding, ding, ding in my brain, I'm ready to go. So 8 minutes is a really good time. You're not actually sleeping, but the body is fully relaxing. Now, the thing that's different with the Navy SEAL power nap is that he recommends that you raise your feet above your heart. Well, I was preparing for this particular presentation today. So yesterday I laid down and I had a power nap and I raised my feet, maybe 4, 8 inches, somewhere in that range. And it allows the blood to flow back into the body. It allows the body to relax better. And the overall option is the fact that by having your feet above your heart, you actually have the ability to fall asleep easier and faster. I didn't necessarily fall asleep any easier or faster. I set the alarm in that particular case for 10 minutes and the alarm went off because I was really and truly relaxed. Now, rest and sleep are not necessarily equal because there's certain physiological things that happen in the body when you're asleep. There are certain things that happen just by resting. So as you're going through these things, you're not getting a deep sleep is not necessarily a bad thing if your nap is less than 30 minutes. You start having a nap for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now you're impacting that circadian rhythm and you probably will have a problem falling asleep. Now, they did a whole bunch of tests. I think there's 5 different tests. And it seemed to be that 16 inches laying down with your feet above your heart, 16 inches, was about the best. The people that gave their reflection on how did it feel? Was I rested? Was I comfortable? Comfort was a big animal. And 16 inches seemed to be about the best. I went up to 20. I went down to 2. But 16 seemed to be, and there really wasn't a major difference above about 12 to about 16 inches. So that 1 foot, 16 inches. Uh, Major thing is to eliminate the distractions around you. If there's a TV going on or whatever that is a distraction, you're not allowing the brain to just to calm and relax. You're not allowing yourself to do kind of a little bit of a meditation where you just relax the body's muscles and just really and truly enjoy that 7 or 8 or 9 minutes that you might happen to have. But go ahead and Google Navy SEAL power nap. A lot of information there. Is it a good thing? I think so. It works for me very well. I will be admit, as long as I stay on my back, boy, I can generally get up pretty well. But sometimes you got to listen to your body. Sometimes you're really and truly tired, and maybe you didn't get good sleep for a couple nights in a row. Doesn't matter what it caused it, but sometimes you just got to turn over and say, I'm going to take a nap. I'll set the alarm for 30 minutes because I don't want to go too far into a nap where it's going to distract me from later on at night. If you're drinking a lot before you go to bed, that's going to disrupt your digestive process, going to disrupt your sleeping. If you're eating late at night, that's going to distract the quality of sleep you have. Now, some cultures, that's the way it is. You take a siesta in the afternoon and you have a late meal. It sort of depends on what works for you. But sleep is a major focus for the 2023-2024. They have a lot of sleep app where that helps you get to sleep and sleep trackers that assess the quality of sleep that you're getting. Now, I have my watch here, and I did my thing from last night. In fact, let me just go ahead and pull it up right here. Get to sleeping, and it says here, I slept for 10 hours and 19 minutes, of which deep sleep was 7 hours and 30 minutes and 2 hours and 20 minutes of light sleep. And if I pull up my phone and I actually look at the times of where these things are, and we have a cycle that goes through about every 90 minutes. And as you're going through, you're going to be in that front end of the cycle. You're going to get deep sleep, come back out of it. And so about every 90 minutes, you're in a deep sleep environment. So if you're taking a nap and you really and truly need the sleep, set your alarm for 90 minutes. That way, when you get up, groggy or not, you're actually not going to disrupt your sleep pattern that much in the evening, because that 90-minute cycle is one that kind of correlates into everything else that's there. Now, sleep trackers, they say they measure inactivity. They're not really measuring the brain waves in your head. They're saying, okay, if my arm is steady and it doesn't move for a half hour, I'm probably asleep. And so it's measuring inactivity. So in our phones, our watches, and whatever, we have accelerometers, and those accelerometers feed back to allow us to get an assessment of how well we're doing things. In the big scheme of things, watches appear to be more accurate than phones. I can't imagine somebody sleeping with a phone, but there's probably there's probably some other piece of equipment that's tied into that. I saw that. I said, that's kind of interesting, but I didn't go back and research it for far enough to say why. Should have. As always, this seems to be a trend, and it pops up every 4 or 5 years. Okay, let's get back to losing weight. Why? Well, lots and lots and lots of reasons. As I mentioned in last week's show, one of the more popular ones is intermittent fasting, but it's also one of the ones that's on the downhill slide, saying, we're starting to phase out IF. It's no longer in vogue. Well, I'll tell you right now, intermittent fasting is probably one of the absolute best things you can do. What does it mean? It means that you fast for literally about 16, 18 hours a day, maybe even 20. It means you might have 2 meals a day, you might have 1 meal a day. But why is this important? If you want to lose weight, it's super critical. Number one, let's say you eat the exact same food. It's prepared for you. It's sitting there. All you have to do is sit down and eat. And if you eat your 3 meals a day, fine. But if you're on intermittent fasting and you're saying, I'm only going to eat this food in a 6-hour window, I'm going to fast for 18 hours, the amount of time that it takes, that 18 hours, you're actually turning on a switch in the body. It's called autophagy. And that autophagy allows the body to go by and clean up itself. Think if you're able to drive a a recycle truck, a garbage truck into your blood vein. It stops at every single cell along the way, picks up trash, picks up the recycle stuff, does the recycling, gives you back what you need. Everything's working fine. Well, autophagy is that process by which the body is self-cleansing. And you need to start at about 18 hours, 16 hours in some cases, some people maybe as little as 14. But autophagy starts and it maxes out around 48, 72 hours. And now you're 100%, you're in autophagy and everything's going well. But the minute you start eating, particularly anything with sugar, everything stops. Now you're back on the other side of the equation. But they're saying that IF is not as valuable because they're not seeing the results. Well, if you look at people on weight loss programs and they go into an IF mode, they're eating the same calories, but because of that autophagy aspect of it, they're actually losing weight. Same total number of calories, but given to you in a different time of the day. So are they right? Is it part of the I want it now generation? I don't know. It's one of those things that it appears to be fading a little bit. Maybe it'll come back. I'm sure it'll be back in 5 years anyway. But fasting in general is up significantly over the last 10 years. Your body mass index is linked to increases in your health risk, your cardiovascular, blood pressure, cholesterol. And so if you can do anything to lower your BMI, now I've been a stickler for BMI for a long time. In fact, the BMI was originally set up to measure populations, not individuals. You take somebody who is, 6'2", 240, and they may have a gut that's many, many inches bigger than somebody else. But the other guy may be a football player. You can't measure with the BMI the same height and weight and expect to get the same assessment of their quality of their health. So, but BMI for a population measurement is pretty decent. But weight is linked to our health. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, many, many others are linked to that extra fat that we carry around. Sometimes we want to lose weight because we want to look better. Sometimes we lose weight because we want to feel better. But I'll tell you right now, losing weight is difficult on a good day. We used to think that the calories in equals calories out. So if I expend more calories in exercise than I eat calories during the day, I should be losing weight. Well, we did a little session here and something you may want to go back in to look at on the USA Global TV and Radio Network archives on YouTube and look under fat management, look under weight management. And there are many, 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 many things that affect our ability to actually lose weight. One is our metabolism. Our metabolism is relatively stable most of our life, especially during our adult life from 20 to about 60. It doesn't change a whole lot. But what does change are hormones, insulin, leptin, cortisol. We have a lot of sensitivities to gluten, to milk products. Ghrelin is a hormone. Our sleep cycle, our exercise, estrogen, neuropeptide Y, glucagon-like peptide. A lot of weight loss pills are set up on that glucagon-like peptide 1. Cholecystokinin, CKK, peptide YY, PYY, adiponectin, resistin, and whether you have brown fat, white fat, and whether or not what's going on. If you have any insulin going on in your body, somewhere cycling back and forth, you're not going to burn fat, period. So all of these hormones are going to tell you eat, don't eat. They're going to assist you in some way. But if you're not aware of what turns them on, what turns them off, what they do, then just sitting there, well, yeah, I could probably have an extra piece of cake today because I exercised a little bit extra. Like I said, there's too many spoons in that big kettle, and each one can make the sauce go a bit differently. But the big key is how much insulin you have. So when you're eating 3 meals a day, insulin's present all day long. When you're intermittent fasting and you have 18 hours of not eating, insulin goes away, you burn it all up, boom, now you're starting to burn fat. That is why the IF diet does work very, very well, IF fasting. Tea replacing water for hydration is one of the trends nowadays. In the past, we said, we just need the water, and then we had smart water, and we had electrolyte water, and we had this kind of water, and then we have high pH water, alkaline water. Well, now they're saying tea is probably better than water because of all of the extra nutrients that you have in the tea. I know I generally, on a regular daily basis, I have 6 different teas. I brew them all together. I have my green, my white, and my black teas. I have my oolong, my pu'er, and gynostema. When I can find it, I get the pochong. But these are the teas that I get, and they're primarily for some aspect of health or aging that I get them for. But when I want to be hydrated, I generally have unsweetened tea, and I'll go through a lot of it on a daily basis. But if I'm not going through there and I'm allowing myself to get dehydrated, then what I'm finding is that my body now is linked to a lower body temperature, possibly an increase in blood pressure, heart rate increases, my risk of seizures and brain swelling goes up, could have kidney issues because I don't have the fluid in there to flush everything through, and a lot more. Dehydration is a major, major problem. You also need, as part of your hydration, electrolyte balance. My wife and I walked the Camino de Santiago 2016, and I had my water bottles with me, and we were drinking fairly often. But we were out there one day, and we came up with, across a group of maybe 3 or 4 women, and we were just literally on our last legs. You could see it in our faces, and they said, "You need some electrolytes." And one of them reached into their backpack, pulled out a couple, mixed in with some water we had, and we drank it out. And it's amazing. Literally in 5 minutes, our complexions improved, everything improved. That electrolyte imbalance, because we were sweating it off as often as we were and not getting it replaced, was significant. So getting the water, getting the tea, you still need the electrolyte balance also. Some of the symptoms associated with dehydration are the inability to focus. We were walking, didn't have the headaches, darker urine color, probably, fatigue, absolutely. So dehydration, a major issue. Keep yourself hydrated and maybe start using tea. Now, the fluids are going to counter the dehydration. And if you've been dehydrated for literally more than a couple days, most cases you can come back into an acceptable level within a day. Worst case, a couple, 3 days. Really bad cases, more than that. You may have to have an IV if it's one of the really worst cases. But when you're drinking tea, particularly green tea, you're going to find that it's tied to a lot of studies that show improved health. It fights cancer, cardiovascular disease, a lot of things in there. Catechins, one of the particular ones, EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, is one that caught my eye several years ago. They did some studies with laboratory animals, and they found out that animals that were induced to have Alzheimer's, that the EGCG changed the molecular structure of the beta protein. What's it? There's a plaque protein, I'll think of it in a second. And it actually changed the molecular structure just a little bit. Whereas prior to having the EGCG in the brain, the molecule of that plaque sat right on top of the end of the neurons and starved it to death. Well, with the EGCG, it couldn't get a grasp. It was both a corrective and a preventive aspect of it. They also noticed that the laboratory animals that had what they thought were dead neurons actually came back to life. So very, very unique in the antioxidant. Now, does that translate to humans? More than likely, yes. But again, they haven't done studies over a long period of time on humans in order to be able to determine that. But your mental alertness, your longevity, all of those things are enhanced with it. Now, you have fermented teas and natural teas. Each have their own benefits. I take both. The thing that is, just do what you can do. See, we're running okay. A skin fast. This is something that a new term that I had not heard of as I was doing research for the program, but it's saying basically, I want to take a break from my skincare routine. I don't want to put any makeup on. I don't want to put lotion on. I don't want to put anything on. Let my body come back to normal. And this may be overnight. It may be for a couple of days. It may be as long as a couple of weeks. But as I'm starting to do this, and if I incorporate a food fast with it, now my autophagy has a chance to work inside the body. I'm allowing the outside of the body not to have the toxins and other things that it typically has. So over time, my skin firms up a little bit. I have that loose skin that I had before is starting to go away. And that's because the body's starting to create more collagen and elastin. And so that production firms up the skin and makes that skin less loose than it was before. Think of it as essentially turning off the computer and then turning it back on, and you're rebooting everything up, except now you're rebooting your body. And that's super critical. So on the same note, there's a thing called the dopamine fast. It's basically a digital detox. You just abstain from anything dealing with technology, gaming, social media, TV, music, and it calms portions of our brain. It allows our everything to kind of calm down. Now, some people include more than technology: sex, food, work, exercise, and more. So those things are there, and I think that's a good place to stop for right now. So let's go all the way back down here to the end, and we'll pick it up. I can be reached at redolaughlin.com, by email address red@redolaughlin.com. I'm a speaker, author, publisher. Books I have here are available on my website or on Amazon. No matter what you can do, it deals with the subconscious mind. The Joy of Ageless Health talks about how disease starts in the body. Longevity Secrets for Healthy Aging talks about the two primary causes of aging and what you can do about it. Understanding the causes of Alzheimer's, again, talks about what causes Alzheimer's and what can you do. And the Essential New Author's Guide is how to write and publish your book for free. So with that, I'm going to conclude today's episode of Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network in connection with, in production with the E360 network. So I will catch you all next week. Take care. Bye now.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I found I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSC.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.
USA Global TV and Radio, in partnership with Dr. Jacqueline LLC, present Amazon #1 best-selling author, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is a certified life, career, and executive coach who teaches people how to listen at an elevated level through her courses and her books. Dr. Kerbeck teaches her clients how to open their hearts and express themselves through their creative genius. In her children's book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, Dr. Kerbeck teaches children and their families How to Listen at an Elevated Level. Dr. Kerbeck has worked with clients across the world to guide them in how to express themselves and communicate at a highly effective level. Join our team of elevated listeners so you can listen without judgment, without providing a solution, without interruption, and without stealing the stage. To order your books today, go to drjacqueline.com or Amazon.
This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.